should have been 20 years ago. And it has to do with looking at food quality based on whether it's a living food or a dead food. Right? So when you think living foods, that sounds a little weird. What exactly is this guy talking about, eating living foods? We're just talking about things that are not overcooked. We're talking about foods with their living enzymes still intact. So fruits and berries, nuts and seeds, vegetables, roots, anything that has not been cooked yet and still has its living enzymes intact, this is one of the best things a human being can consume. You want to make sure that at least 50% of your caloric intake is coming from living foods. If you choose that, not only will you shed fat, you're going to increase your vibrancy, your energy, all of your health markers are going to go through the roof. One of the things I really like to emphasize on a nutrition plan is try to make it very heavily a plant-based diet. You want the majority of what you're eating to be plants, just as if you just picked it and you ate it, just like that. It's natural form. So why? Well, we know that natural foods in their natural state, uncooked, are rich in living enzymes. We know that cooked foods have little or no living enzymes in them. Well, what's the benefit of eating foods with living enzymes? When you eat dead foods, cooked foods, steak, potato chips, candy, your body has to give up its own living enzymes in order to digest and assimilate that food. The loss of your enzymes over your lifetime is one of the things that contributes to aging very much. But when you eat fresh foods with their own living enzymes intact, they contribute living enzymes to your body. They take nothing from it. So you basically keep a lot of your own enzymes. It's good for longevity. It's good for longer health. The more living foods you eat, there's a saying, life begets life and death begets death. This is in so many religious scriptures throughout the world. They reference the difference between living foods and dead foods. And it's because of something called SOFs and biophotons. It's called subtle organizing energy forces. There's literally a living energy force within uncooked foods, unprocessed foods, that is simply not present in dead cooked foods. So when we're choosing our food sources, we want to not just look at vitamins, minerals, fats, proteins, calories, carbohydrates. These are all the macro and micronutrients that we use to classify, categorize, or analyze food. But in 10, 15, 20 years, there's going to be a paradigm shift, and it's going to be looking at foods for these subtle organizing energy forces, the amount of trapped sunlight still within those foods. That's what we're going to be seeking to nourish us, not just looking at calories on a package. So I just encourage you to move towards life and only have enough cooked food on your plate for what actually needs to be cooked, animal proteins and whatnot. We're trying to minimize the cooked, go with more living foods. So moving away from the foods for a second, strategy number 4 has to do with the calorie burn, the energy in, energy out balance. Because at the end of the day, that's all weight loss really comes down to, is an energy in, energy out equation. We've got to burn more calories than we're consuming. So the little scale on top just shows you when you're consuming the same amount of calories that you burn, there is obviously no weight loss on that day. So you may have eaten absolutely perfectly, but if you burn 2,000 calories and you ate 2,000 calories, you don't lose any fat for that day. So very important that you do create a slight caloric deficit, which is going to be the number 2. The calories out exceed the calories in. That's going to result in a weight loss. On the other hand, when the calories in exceed the calories going out, the body at the end of the day has excess calories that it can't deal with. Those calories become stored as fat and we gain weight. So at the end of the day, we're just looking to create a caloric deficit. Now, one of the problems today in creating a caloric deficit is that we only have so much time to exercise. Most of us only have 1 hour a day to get our workout in there, and the rest of the day we're relatively sedentary. This is the problem with most of Americans, is that we're just not moving enough. New studies are showing that the average American is sitting like 13 hours a day. Think about where on here you might fall. Are you eating breakfast seated? Are you commuting to work for an hour or so? At work, are you sitting all day at work, 6, 8, 10 hours at your desk? Lunch, we're probably sitting and we're commuting home again. We get home, we're doing bills or something else seated. So the average American is sitting 13 or more hours a day. I did a whole seminar on the negative effects of sitting. The World Health Organization now considers people who sit more than 8 hours a day as sedentary, and that puts them in the high-risk category for premature death. Now, premature death from being sedentary is the 3rd biggest killer in the world, ahead of HIV and something else that shouldn't be ahead of. So what I'm basically saying is, People are dying, like succumbing to symptoms of not moving enough. They didn't catch cancer, weren't born with a genetic disease. They're healthy people who otherwise stopped moving enough to the point they are now getting diseases or symptoms associated with being sedentary. So one of the other challenges is that you only work out an hour a day, but you fall into the category of sitting 8, 10, or 12 hours a day. You are wreaking havoc on your endocrine system. Studies show that if you sit that much and you work out an hour, you will actually offset 90% of the beneficial effects of your workout. So all the metabolic boost you get from your workout, you can offset up to 90% of that if you're sitting on your butt 8 or 10 hours or 12 hours a day. And I know what you're thinking, Kristian, I have to sit, I'm a secretary, I'm an architect, I'm an IT guy, I'm just sitting, there's no way around it. Here's your strategy. If you're forced to sit at work, forced to be desk bound, every hour that you're sitting, if you have to set a timer, get up once an hour and move for 2 to 3 minutes. Whether it's just strolling to the copy room, going to the bathroom, doing 10 bodyweight squats at your chair, walking down to the corner, maybe you walk to lunch instead of driving. You're looking for OTMs, opportunities to move at work, opportunities to move at home, opportunity to move in every area of your life where you normally wouldn't be moving. It's not just the movement and the little mini calorie you burn from actually moving. It's that when you get up from that sedentary position, you send your body messages that it's no longer immobilized, and this has a tremendous beneficial effect on your whole endocrine system. All of the hormones associated with fat burning and metabolism and appetite, they stay stoked at a high level when we keep movement infused throughout our day. When we become sedentary for the most of the day, we offset all the beneficial hormones that affect metabolism and fat. So my point is, I'm encouraging you to move as much as possible outside of this room. We walk the dog twice a day instead of once, take the baby for a stroll, wash the car instead of taking it to be washed, look for opportunities to burn a little bit more calories and convince the body it's not sitting too much. So what type of exercise is best? Okay, I think we might be in the right place for that. Hope you don't mind, Coach, I stole some of your images off the website there. So, you guys have the ideal workout plan. What do we want to get out of a well-rounded workout regimen? If we only got an hour to train, we want to cram as much work into that hour as possible, and we want it to be a diverse type of workout. So ideally, we'd like a little bit of resistance training. We want to be able to replace any lost muscle we may have lost over the years with poor eating habits. We want to be able to hopefully build some new muscle. We want to take the muscle we already have and make it as metabolically active as possible. Charge it up with a good workout every day. Cardio is important. We want to be cardiovascularly fit, so that workout should incorporate some cardio. The great thing here, you guys aren't in here like a hamster on a wheel at a health club doing steady state cardio on a treadmill. You're in here doing functional cardio, the kind of cardio that carries over to every other area of your life. And you got to pick up a big sack of dog food at Costco or something. This is functional training that has carryover that improves quality of life beyond just looking good in the mirror. So you had a great thing going here with this well-rounded workout. Even better, the type of cardio you do in this room, it's high-intensity interval training. And we already know steady state cardio, that hamster on the wheel at the health club, that's gone the way of the dinosaur, right? It's all about high-intensity intervals now. Hard to cram more work into an hour than doing interval training or circuit training. So you've got both of those going on great in this room. You're pushing the heart rate up, letting it drop for a second, pushing it up, letting it drop, and this has a magical effect on metabolism. I'm sure you guys already know when the workout's over, your metabolism stays stoked for days. You don't get that benefit on a regular hamster on a wheel, on an elliptical. That workout ends and you might burn calories for another 30 minutes to an hour at an accelerated rate before that fizzles out. So the high intensity interval training, circuit training that you're doing here, no need to change your exercise prescription. You've got everything in this room to perform on a high level, to have an above average level of strength, and to have a hot body, an Instagram body if you want. Insta-hot, right? A nice beach body, everything you want. You can get all of that in this room and then some. There's an old saying we have in the fitness world, if you don't track it, you can't change it. So as you're going through this 6-week journey, if you've never implemented any of these tools that allow you to track your caloric burn or track your activity, this is a great thing. We want you to not only become a conscious eater, but someone who's conscious of their movement patterns throughout the day. I find that when people get Fitbits, and they start using them, and at night it gives you the summary of how you've moved throughout the day. They start to see the peaks and the valleys in their activity. When you identify where the valleys are, you're like, ooh, I can do a little something extra here when I'm sitting for 6 hours tomorrow. I can squeeze in another 200 steps here, or whatever it might be. So it makes you very conscious of your movement patterns throughout the day. It allows you to set a goal for yourself, like I'm gonna hit 10,000 steps tomorrow. By the way, that same World Health Organization who classified being sedentary as the third biggest killer in the world, says that if people would just do 10,000 steps a day, that would take you out of the category of being sedentary into the category of actually being active, which the workout alone does not define you as being active. It happens that other 23 hours outside of your 1 hour workout is what defines you as active. If you'll take 10,000 steps a day, you'll shift yourself into the category of being an active individual, and you'll remove yourself from that high-risk category of premature death from being sedentary. So we definitely encourage you to get a Fitbit, use it, create opportunities to move throughout your day, and become conscious of your movement patterns. We need to get some tools. Yes.
That Fitbit, you wouldn't care if it's here, right? It's like during your workout. It'd be more for the 23 hours of your time.
Yeah, because we all know what can we really cram into 1 hour. Ladies, 400, 500, 600 calories if you're lucky. Gentlemen, 700, 800, 1,000 if you really bust your butt. So, there's a finite limit to how much work you can squeeze into an hour, but how much work can you squeeze into the other 23 hours of the day? There's something called NEAT. It's an acronym, N-E-A-T, non-exercise thermogenic activity. It's a term for all of the activity you have outside of your workout, activity that is non-exercise based. If you can imagine a pie chart with your 1 hour workout being a little slice and the rest of the day being your NEAT, your non-exercise activity, your greatest potential for calorie burn lies within that 23-hour period, not within that 1 hour. You can only cram so much work into that hour. So if you look for ways to up your calorie burn in the other 23 hours, again, walking to lunch with your friend instead of driving, strolling around the office a little more than usual, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking the dog a little bit extra distance. All these little micro burns, micro movements add up to more NEAT calories burned, and it could mean you going to bed at night with an extra 200 calories on your calorie deficit, and you didn't have to do anything extra in the gym that day. You just look for opportunities to move a little more throughout the day. So definitely, Coach Elon, yes, the calorie trackers are great, the activity trackers are great, and the focus should be on what can I do outside of my workout. I know I'm already going to crush the workout. So it's now time to get the right tools for the job. We've got to pull out the food scales, we've got to pull out the measuring cups and measuring tools, not forever, but for a little while. This can often be very eye-opening. People are like, oh, I'm eating 2 cups of rice. I thought I was eating half a cup. Now I see why I'm not losing the weight. So definitely, the measuring is super important. It's often a big eye-opener for most people. I like this one, guys. Yes, the little MyFitPal is great, and all of the wonderful apps we have to track our food are great. I like an old spiral notebook, a little 99-cent spiral notebook, and as you eat your meals, you write them down and scribble them in there. At the end of the evening, you sit down and total up your calories for the day. Total carbohydrates, protein, fat, and calories. And if your diet goes well, you now have a clear blueprint of what you did to follow. So if you're not following a structured eating plan, at least write down what you do eat so that you can see what worked for you if it works. If it works and you arrive at your goal, then you can go back and follow your blueprint in the future. If you don't make progress 1 week, you can say, okay, I averaged about 1,600 calories a day this week. I went to the gym 4 times. It yielded no weight loss for me. Let me try dropping 200 calories and see what happens this week. And again, you wouldn't be able to make those kinds of specific detailed adjustments had you not tracked it to begin with. So again, if you can't track it, you cannot change it. I love an old school food journal and getting in the practice of just writing down what you eat as you eat it. It makes you a very conscious eater. It's also nice when you get the ball rolling for a little while and you have a nice clean food journal. You don't want to mess it up and put that slice of chocolate cake in there. It just helps you a little extra layer of accountability to help you eating clean. So I love the food journal idea. Part of the right tools for the job go beyond just the kitchen. We need to use a food scale, or a regular scale perhaps, measuring tape, skin fold caliper. I will be using a skin fold caliper to take the body fat of anybody who wants to do a nutrition program with me. It's super important, guys. If you're using only the scale as a way to gauge weight loss, you really don't know if all the weight you're losing is muscle or is fat. Again, we don't want to lose any muscle tissue. That's not going to be conducive to your goals in the long term. So we use a skin fold caliper for the most part for most folks. The scale, if you're scale phobic, if you're terrified of the scale, if you're of the belief that we shouldn't focus on numbers on a scale, guys, it's just one of many tools to gauge your progress going forward. I always say if you live by the scale, you die by the scale. So it's one tool to gauge progress, but if it doesn't agree with you 1 week, it doesn't mean you want to turn your whole life upside down and do something drastic to see that drop the next week. It's one tool I like to use, but if you can't do something, if you can't embrace an accountability practice as simple and powerful as the weekly weigh-in because you're so terrified of the scale, I've got news for your friends. Your chances of long-term success are slim. You'll face far greater challenges on your weight loss journey than just having to get on the scale once a week. So just surrender to the idea that once every week on a Sunday morning, I'm going to wake up, use the bathroom, and before I drink coffee or anything, I'm going to take a dead dry body weight, no clothes on, butt naked, and get my accurate Sunday morning dry weight every week. Whether it was a good week or a bad week, come hell or high water, I'm getting on that scale Sunday morning. What this does is, you make a lot better decisions Friday and Saturday night if you know you have to get on that darn scale Sunday morning, or better yet, even take your progress pictures once a week, right? The front, side, and back pics. If you know you got to do those and a weigh-in every Sunday morning, you're much more likely to adhere or to comply with your nutrition program. So I encourage the use of every tool we can employ that gives you another layer of accountability or another layer of biometric tracking. Tools for the job go beyond measuring tools for your body and for your food. I want to talk to you guys about mobility tools, taking care of the body. We're about to take on a serious physical challenge. Some of you guys are going to be going at this thing 5, 6, maybe even 7 days on some week, exercising vigorously, putting a bar on your back, squatting. This is a very safe workout.